Tom Brady and the Buccaneers lost to the 49ers 35-7 yesterday. Tampa drops back below 500 at 6-7. They actually, though, still lead the NFC South and are currently playoff bound. Shannon, are the Bucs complete frauds, though?
Look, I believe they're going to win the division. But I've said this, we go back 2 months. I said they don't fear the Bucs because they don't see that offense that can go drop 35 at the blink of an eye. It's a struggle. It's a struggle for this team to score 20 points. And I believe that in order for you to be successful in the playoffs, there are going to be some games you're going to need to probably get to 35. If you look at the Rams, they had to win a shootout with the Bucs last year, Skip. Even though it came down to a field goal, it was a 30-27 ball game.
It was.
We've seen the only time I think the Bucs has gotten to 30, they lost. They scored 31, but the other team had 41. So we haven't seen them get more than 22 points, but in 2 games this season. They're 28th in points scored. They're averaging 17 points a game. A Tom Brady-led offense is averaging 17 points. They're 26th in red zone deep offense. So that means they're kicking field goals. They're not getting touchdowns. They're 21st on third down conversion. They're 18th in total offense. That doesn't put fear in people because it's like, but bro, if we get to 20, we got a better than 80% chance of winning. If we get to 30, ain't no way in hell Tom Brady can get to 30 with all them check and jailbreak screens and bubble screens that they be throwing. Look, they're still in first. Skip my notes. Bucs are just the 7th team in NFL history to have a losing record and be in first place in the division at week 14. That's where they are. They're one game in front of the Falcons are 5-8. Saints are 5-9. The Bucs are, and so the Panthers just improved to 5-8, and they got the Panthers again. I think they got the Falcons again.
Mm-hmm. Last game at Falcons.
So I believe they're gonna win the division. So they'll get a home game for the playoffs. But Skip, nobody fears them. Honestly, nobody fears them. There's a great chance that the loser of the NFC East is going to be the 5 seed.
Mm-hmm.
Tampa's not beating that team.
Mm. Okay, that it?
That's it.
All right, good. My turn. I'm not even sure, as I sit here right now, that Tom Brady's Buccaneers are going to win the South. I'm not sure about that because I'm pretty sure they won't beat Cincinnati. You think that Cincinnati's receiving corps is beat up after yesterday. I don't think they're going to
Higgins and Boyd both left the game.
I got it. Joe Mixon did come back.
Right.
P. Ryan's still running wild.
Yeah.
The point is, Joe Burrow is playing at an extremely high level right now. I don't think the Bucs can lick their wounds fast enough and turn this thing around in time to beat Cincinnati even at home.
Well, they better get Vita Vea back in there because you saw what McCaffrey did yesterday.
Okay, I got it. Vita Vea went out early yesterday. Jamel Dean went out pretty soon yesterday. And Joe Tryon, who's their second best pass rusher, went out. Well, he's now their first best, you could argue, because Shaq Barrett is gone. Mm-hmm. I think they miss JPP. I think they miss Sue. And they definitely miss Gronkowski on offense because Tom had one guy that he completely trusted, especially in the red zone. But in any 3rd and 4, he trusted Gronk to be where he knew Gronk would be. So all of this adds up to, are you sure, because I'm not, are you sure they could then go win at Arizona, which is on Christmas night?
Right.
I'm not completely sure about that. And if they lose that, what it would come down to is you have to beat Carolina and you have to beat Atlanta to hang on to the division.
I'm not so sure. What Arizona am I going to get? Am I going to get Arizona? Have they already mailed it in because they've lost?
All right. Who are you going to get tonight against Belichick? I don't know. Let's see. Maybe I don't know what to make of them. Kyler's back. I don't know what to make. But the point is, it's a dangerous road game.
Yeah, of course.
That, given the way they played yesterday, you'd say, well, I don't know. So can they beat Carolina in Tampa? Carolina's, especially defensively, I'm not a big Sam Darnold guy, as you well know. But they do run the ball because they can pound it.
Yeah, the Foreman.
And their defense has been pretty to actually very good all year long.
Right.
Okay?
They're not world beaters. But
no, but are they dangerous? Sure, they're dangerous. Atlanta, even though they went to the kid quarterback now, will they rise up as a division rival for the last game? It could come down to all the marbles are in that game against a rookie quarterback on the final day of the season.
Right.
Okay. So what do I know about Brady and company? I will remind you, in the pandemic year 2020, Brady's first year in Tampa, do you remember the mid-season game on a Sunday night against New Orleans?
Yeah.
It was god-awful. It was so bad that Tom Brady had a QBR of 4 in the game. Remember this? He threw 3 interceptions and no touchdown passes, and I can't remember what the final score, 38-6 maybe, or 30, right? Okay, so that happened, and they bounced back and somehow got on a roll and won the Super Bowl. Do you remember what happened in December? It was about this time a year ago. New Orleans went to Tampa and beat Brady 9-0. He couldn't score a single point in that game, and somehow they righted the wrongs, and they came back, and to your point, they lost a shootout to the team that was on its way to winning the championship, right? So I'm going to hang in and hang on to that notion. I keep saying they're going to figure it out, because I still think if you do have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, I'm not so convinced about Julio, but if you have those two, you should be able to figure something out. And I do like Rashad White. And I still like playoff Lenny enough that I say you could figure this out. And if you get Tristan Wirfs back, and if you do get Ryan Jensen back, and they're not saying no to this. This is the center that made the Pro Bowl, right? If you get those two back, all of a sudden, I think it starts to look a little different. The problem is the defense is so decimated, I don't know then it swings around to the defense.
But Skip,
can they stop anybody?
Skip, if you go back to the pandemic, the year that you're talking about, and the year that they won the Super Bowl, you saw that defense get to a point, and they started locking people down.
It took off.
And then you saw Tom do it. But Skip, we haven't seen Tom be consistent over any stretch. We've seen him play good for about 5 minutes. We'll see him play good for a drive or two.
And then I always see him play extremely well in the last 2 minutes if they have a chance. If they have a chance. But not if they don't. But if they do, then he takes it up another level, which is why I don't understand why they don't try to run the no-huddle 2-minute offense in the first quarter, maybe for a series here or there, just to shake people up. And I keep thinking, okay, they're going to figure it out now. And remember, they went to Munich and they beat Seattle, and I thought, okay, now they got a bye week. They'll come back and figure it out. And they came off 2 weeks off and went to Cleveland and stunk it up. They stunk it up. They laid a huge egg.
But I think the thing is, Skip, and also, if you go back to 2020, what could they do what they can't consistently do now? They could pressure you. You know, they had Ndamukong Suh, they had Shaq Barrett, they had JPP.
They did.
They could really get after you with that front four.
See the Super Bowl against Mahomes? Right.
Now, Skip.
And by the way, Todd Bowles' reputation has always been a blitzer back in his days of defensive coordinating. And they blitzed on the first play of the game. Keanu Neal blitzes as the kid Brock Purdy audibled, and Keanu Neal just blows him up and hits him right in the helmet to helmet. And it could have been a tone-setting type play. And
but
instead,
it was a 15-yard
they get a 15 yards. Okay? But that was the only time I saw them really go after Brock Purdy. Mostly they just sat back, I guess because they're so beat up in the secondary, because he doesn't have Winfield, and he doesn't have Mike Edwards, and he doesn't have Murphy Bunting, and then early on he didn't have Jamel Dean. Well, that's your whole starting secondary.
But the thing is, Skip, what I don't want to do, I don't want to blitz and put my corners in one-on situation, because all these guys, one thing that every receiver, a skill position player can do at 49ers is run after the catch. You look at all the receivers, Ayuk, Jennings, Debo, but Skip, and another thing, McCaffrey ran the ball extremely well.
He did.
But once he lines up outside, or he lines up in the slot, you got to treat him like a receiver. He's not a running back.
No.
You got to treat him like you would treat Marshall Faulk. Skip.
By the way, when Baker was in Carolina, the only guy he seemed to like throwing to was McCaffrey.
Yes. So I don't know what Logan Ryan was doing, Skip. He's like trying to play 2-by-1. No, that's Christian McCaffrey. You got to treat him like he's a number one receiver. Because if you don't, you see what happens? Because they're looking to put the ball up to him. And I thought this would be a good, I say, Skip, he's going somewhere that really knows how to use him.
Well, they do. Kyle's genius level at that.
And now you see he's looking like Christian McCaffrey. He's looking like C-Mac.
No, they're really good, but they got a kid quarterback, and I don't know. I guess they're going to have him for the duration.
You got to, as long as he doesn't turn it over, Skip. Because you're going to catch hell scoring 28, 30 points on that defense.
I agree. I'm not giving up on Tampa Bay just yet.
Skip, I don't know if they can win a game.
As far as the NFC South goes,
it looks like they're going to get the fifth seed, which will be the loser of the NFC East, Skip.
I know. I got it.
I know you're not picking Tom Brady over your Cowboys. You definitely not picking Tom Brady over the Eagles.
I will cross that bridge.
Well, you might as well go ahead and put it up there, because they're not catching the Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly. You see, I got my Eagles green on today. You see this?
I know.
Yeah, exactly. I know what's going on. Fly, Eagles, fly.
Good luck to you on Christmas Eve. Mr. Eagle.
Shannon trying to speak it into existence.
Yeah. Jalen
Guys,
Hurts.
as far as that NFC South picture goes, I'll tell you what, those Panthers are playing hard.
Yeah, they play hard.
With
With Sam Darnold, they rallied behind it.
Than was playing under Matt Rule.
Yep.
It'll be interesting. All right, up next, let's talk a little Tua and the Dolphins.
Let's.
Gentlemen, do you think they're finally cooling off? Or the last two games just really flukes? That's next, right here on FS1.